Want to stay just steps away from the magic? We're breaking down the best Disneyland hotels along Harbor Boulevard within walking distance, where to stay and what to expect without the hassle of transportation.
You're listening to Castle Talk Radio. We're live on the airwaves with Becca and Jessica. Now let's jump into this week's episode.
If you prefer to use your own 2 feet to travel between Disneyland and your hotel, this is the episode for you. Now, there's a lot of hotels that we could cover, so we're calling this part 1 of walking distance hotels, and this is Harbor Boulevard, north of the pedestrian crosswalk.
Yes, we are so creative. We've named this episode North of the Crosswalk. But it's truly the simplest way to describe it. So look at a map of Disneyland and you'll see Harbor Boulevard to the east. And Harbor is the most popular off-property location to stay at for Disneyland guests.
That's right. And in this small area north of the pedestrian crosswalk and up to the 5 freeway, we're covering 6 different hotels on that small strip. And that's why we felt we needed to break it down so we can really cover these hotels for you guys. Let's start with the one closest to the crosswalk, which is also first on our free printable, which you can get at castletalkradio.com. Okay, so the first hotel is, and I have to watch to make sure I get the full name right, Best Western Park Place Inn. Jessica, you stayed there most recently. Tell us about this Best Western Hotel.
Yes, so first of all, there are many Best Westerns in the walking distance vicinity of Disneyland, and it gets very confusing because I think they all throw in the word plus and suites and inn somewhere in their name. So your best thing to do is to make sure that you're checking the address for those hotels. So Best Western plus Park Place Inn and many suites, whatever you want to call it. The address is 1544 South Harbor Boulevard. Okay, this is the Best Western that is at the crosswalk, literally at the crosswalk. There is no other hotel that is closer to the pedestrian crosswalk. It is so close that if there are demonstrations, protesters, preachers, anything on bullhorns, you will hear them in your room. How do I know this? Yeah. Now, most of the time, that's only going to be happening during peak travel time and also when the park is opening and right after fireworks. That is something that is really important to know. And that is freedom of speech, and they're allowed to do that. That is a public area, but you can hear those things inside your room, so be aware of that. But inside the hotel, this Best Western, I was so pleasantly surprised. I was a little bit nervous to stay, but I said, I have got to stay in one of these Best Westerns. Now, they are motel style on the outside, so your door is to the outside. Super cute, though. They have shutters. They have updated interior. You're going to have just like your 2 queens or 2 double beds. And then the vanity is right there in the room as well, with the door into like the bathroom area with the toilet and shower. So this is kind of a motel-ish style, but I feel like the decor and the the look and feel of the interior is a little bit more upgraded than a motel style. So the other thing about this Best Western is I have to say that I ranked all of the Best Westerns within walking distance, and this one is the best one. This is the absolute best one in my opinion. It is a moderate hotel when we're talking about value, moderate, and deluxe. So it's right there in the middle. It can sleep up to 6 guests. And it has a full breakfast included. And this breakfast is top notch. You actually go next door to the Mexican restaurant that they have next door. And you have to show like a ticket that they give you at check-in for each day. So it is highly guarded. They're going to check you off. Some of these hotels, they just have their buffets open and ready. And, kind of anyone could go in there. But they're checking it off. They're checking how many guests you have. And you go upstairs and it is a full spread of all kinds of things with people helping serve you. And it is really the works, and they did a really good job. And it's not what you would think for Best Western, and even not what you would think for like the hotel itself. So the breakfast really does like outshine even the hotel. So that is a big, big deal. Now, I did say it's moderate, but the price point is going to be higher than like a moderate hotel when you're looking at other Best Westerns in other areas, maybe your neighborhood Best Western hotel. These aren't super cheap hotels by any means. So they are more than I would spend for a Best Western down the block from my house or something.
Definitely. All right. So moving north on Harbor, the next hotel is Tropicana Inn and Suites. And this one is pretty close to that crosswalk as well, we have to admit. It is also motel style. It is maybe like a minute walk to the crosswalk from the front of the hotel, right? Like it's really close. With that, they have upgraded rooms that can sleep up to 5. So you have 2 queens or doubles in there, and then a chair that can pull out usually. The rooms are newly updated. They look really nice. Again, it's kind of the same layout as the ones over at Best Western. However, this is they do not have free breakfast. So that's a big thing to know that you'd be losing out on staying at that hotel. The other thing is their hotel actually surrounds the parking lot, like true motel style, right? Roadside inn type thing. And if you are on the ground floor, and I just had a friend stay there. She's like, I need to stay there again, not on the ground floor, because ground floor, you hear everything. Like it's pretty thin. She could smell when people were smoking outside, things like that. So definitely be aware of that. If you do choose to stay there, you might want to ask for the second floor. The other thing with this one is the pool. Now, I don't think Best Western has a great pool, but at least it's a little bit better than Tropicana's, in that Tropicana's is literally in the middle of the parking lot. And while some hotels can do a parking lot one and they do pretty good at like putting shrubbery or whatever, this one has nothing. That is literally the parking lot, cars facing towards you when they park. So just be aware of that as well. But it is a great stay for those that maybe want to be close. They know they're not going to take advantage of a free breakfast, and they need something that sleeps that 5th person. So it's a great option. Like I said, the rooms are redone. The rooms are beautiful, but there are some downsides just to it being an older building that they just can't take care of, right? They can't change it. Okay, Jessica, let's move on to the Camelot Inn and Suites. Now, let's not confuse this. There are 2 like castle medieval looking hotels on Harbor. One is south. That's the Castle Inn. This is Camelot Inn. It is north of the crosswalk. And we both toured this property. So give us a little bit of a rundown of this.
Yeah, and I have actually stayed at Camelot as well, and also had some of my family members stay there because I was so impressed by what they've been able to do with the property and recent renovations in the past few years. So Camelot Inn, as we're moving north, so a little bit farther away from that pedestrian crosswalk. So first thing is they can sleep a lot of people, up to 7 people. They have some suites in their options where you can also close the door in between. So you would walk in, it's motel style as well. You would walk in that door, and then it would be 1 bedroom, and then there will be a door in between. That's another bedroom. So that's a really great option for families. And they did a really good job with the interior, freshening it up. It has like grays and dark purples, which I thought was really cute. And then they also just recently redid the outside of it. So it still looks like that castle style, but they've painted it so that it kind of matches the interior more so. Totally walkable. Obviously, we're talking those walkable hotels. It is a moderate hotel. Like I said, sleeps up to 7. They do not offer breakfast. Their pool is elevated. It's not necessarily a rooftop pool, but it is like a couple stories up. Smaller, but a very cool spot to watch fireworks, which you can see. And they do have like a gazebo up there as well. So if you're hanging out on a fireworks night and you're not in the parks, you're going to want to be at that pool deck. So a great spot to be, and a really good value for families who need more space. I've definitely checked out Camelot Inn and Suites. And that's just 2 hotels away from the pedestrian crosswalk. So a really good choice.
I have to say one thing about that is the family suite you talked about is huge, as in there's a lot of room inside of those rooms. The only downside I found to that one is that it didn't have a second bathroom, and there was definitely room for a second bathroom between those 2 rooms. But other than that, I was like, man, this is really spacious. Lots of counter space too above like the fridge and the dresser and things. So definitely not going to feel crowded for the family of 7 either.
Right. And I do have all kinds of pictures of that hotel on my website as well, in its own standalone review. So the next hotel, continuing north there on Harbor Boulevard, is Fairfield. Now that is Fairfield Anaheim Resort. It is a Marriott property. And this one is another one that is a motel style where the doors are on the outside. So you're catching a theme here. These ones super close to Disneyland sometimes have that exterior entry, which is important. If that is important to you, I know the first time that we ever stayed at one like that, my son felt like we were not safe. He was young and he said, "Are you sure we're safe?" Because he wasn't used to it. So it was just really interesting. But Fairfield, Becca, you have stayed there most recently out of the 2 of us, but we've both toured that just within the past few months. So give us some thoughts on Fairfield.
Yeah. So the first thing I want to say is, while it is motel style, there are no rooms, I think, on the bottom floor. I don't think there's any rooms.
That makes a difference.
So you will not be facing into a parking lot. If there are rooms on the bottom floor, it's only on the back side. But I don't know if there are. I've never toured the bottom floor, so other than the other offerings. So with the Fairfield, here's some fun little facts about it. One, it's one of the few hotels that's actually owned by Marriott. So for those that don't know, almost all Marriotts are franchised out to companies that then use the Marriott name, kind of like a Chick-fil-A is franchised out, or a Wendy's. Marriott itself, the Marriott family, only owns about a dozen hotels, and this happens to be one of them. Another thing about this hotel is the Fairfield brand across the Marriott name is known for having free breakfast. This Fairfield does not offer free breakfast. So if you're used to knowing, I'm going to stay at Fairfield, I'm going to get free breakfast, you might be in for a little bit of a surprise here. And then the other thing that's really cool about this Fairfield is that I think it was like 95% of the rooms are connecting. So it's really great for families that want bigger space and want to be able to also separate that space, have 2 bedrooms. And so with all the different configurations, you could sleep, up to 10 people with the 2 connecting rooms, depending on how the rooms are configured. Most of the rooms have 2 queens and then a 5th sleeper chair that folds out. And then it's got some other really fun things, like a hidden Mickey that you can spot that's on the roof of the ground floor. You can spot from the balconies. Jessica, do you know about their gift shop, right? Like I think it's the largest gift shop on Harbor Boulevard, if I remember correctly.
I don't remember that statistic, but that's very cool.
Yeah. anything you want to add about? I mean, it has fun Disney touches throughout. Anything specific you want to mention from it?
The outdoor pool is on the side of the parking lot, but I do feel like they've done a better job than others because it's kind of tucked off to the side and it does have like the greenery there. It is a little bit bigger than some of the other ones we've talked about. And I think just that those connecting rooms is a really great thing because so many hotels are like, we can't guarantee the connecting room, and they can pretty much guarantee that for you, which is really important. Another thing with our partners at Getaway Today, they currently have a 5th night free special at Fairfield Anaheim. That's something that you can only get when you're booking with our ticket partners. If you go to Castle Talk Radio, we have the links there for you as well. And we are going to move on to probably the gem of Harbor Boulevard in this situation, the north of the pedestrian crosswalk, which is one that you've heard us talk about a lot and is one that is on a lot of people's must-stay lists. And they're like, I cannot wait until someday we're going to stay. And that is the Courtyard. And Becca knows the Courtyard inside and out. So Becca, tell us about this property and what makes it so special.
All right. So I do want to disclose I have a working relationship with the Courtyard Anaheim theme park entrance, but that does not affect this review at all. This is why I have that relationship, is because I've raved about them so much. So this Courtyard, one of the biggest things, the reason everyone knows about it is because it has a water park, and that water park is visible from the monorail at Disneyland. So kids will take the monorail and they'll be like, why aren't we staying at that hotel with the water park? So that's the big thing that most people know about. But there is so much more to this hotel. All of the rooms sleep, well, I shouldn't say all. There are a few select ones that don't, that are designed that way. But the standard room there sleeps 6. So it has 2 queen beds and twin bunk beds. And some places that offer bunk beds and 2 queen beds, it's a really tight fit. Looking at you, Viv. But this one has tons of space. They also have a dining nook in each room, fridge and a microwave, and each of their bathrooms has 2 full-size showers. So there's some other hotels in the area that do have 2 showers, but they're a little bit smaller. These are 2 full-size showers, one that's a bath shower combo out with your sink, double sink in that part of the bathroom. And then the water closet that closes off also has a walk-in shower with the toilet. So easy to get ready in the morning. And then like my favorite little quirky thing that most people don't think about is as you walk in, there's like this nook, and it can fit a double stroller. It can fit a mobility scooter, or you could put your luggage there if you don't want to put it in the fairly large closet. And that's just, it's just so nice to not have to try and figure out where we're going to fit the double stroller in the main part of the room, right? So I love that about it. It does not offer free breakfast, but it has a bistro in the lobby that has delicious food and also serves Starbucks. So you can go down there in the morning, get a Starbucks. It's a great hotel. I will say it's going through a renovation right now. And so up through, I believe they're expected to be done in April of 2025. So you will have some work going on, but really it has not been too disruptive. About half of the rooms are completely renovated at this point. The rooms are more of a light refresh, whereas they're really doing some work in the lobby. But yeah, I love it. It's my favorite hotel.
Yeah, and I have to say the water park has 2 large water slides that I have tried myself, and they are super fun. And then they have like smaller kiddie play type of areas as well. If you're looking for like a swimming pool to like play around, that's not the spot. Like there is a swimming area, but it's not like your massive like Marco Polo style. This is like water play and space to lounge and space to watch fireworks. So a lot of pros there. And then our last hotel is Howard Johnson. And good news, Becca and I just both stayed there last week as of this recording. And I honestly think I've Well, I don't know. It's hard to say. I think Howard Johnson is probably in the top 3 that I've stayed at the most
For me
in the
too.
area, just because a lot of times the pricing is right and it has some really good benefits and features for staying at Howard Johnson. So, what are a couple of things that you love about that property?
Okay, so the first thing I love about that property is what you just said the courtyard is lacking. The courtyard does not have a large pool area, like a large swimming pool, right? It's got this large area. The pool's decent size, but it's only 3.5 feet, the whole length of the pool, right? Howard Johnson has a water playground, so it doesn't have as big a slides, but it has that fun water play area. And then separately, they have their garden pool. And that is a fairly large pool with lots of lounging area around it. And that is more for swimming. And it's calmer, more relaxed because it's separate from the playground. My only gripe with it is that the hot tub is located in the playground, which I guess makes sense so that adults can kind of hang out in the hot tub while the kids play. But for those that don't want to go to the water playground, I'd love to see a hot tub put in with the garden pool. Um, 2 of the buildings have been renovated, and I know that in the next year or 2, they're planning to renovate the others. So that's building 1 and building 2. It is an older hotel where each building and the layouts of the rooms are a little bit different. I was staying in the same building as our friend Kim from Getaway Today, and the layouts for our 2 rooms were completely different, right? And then Jessica had the coolest room of any of them. You want to tell them about it?
Yeah, so typically when we stay at hotels, we like to do a room tour and we just video through the room. And I've been doing this for over 10 years. So it's pretty standard. I go in and I flip all the lights on and I know how to talk about a hotel. I'm like, these are the beds. Here's the closet. Here's the bathroom. And I get on my professional voice and I say, here we are, Howard Johnson and blah, blah, blah. And then I go to the balcony and I say, and here's the balcony. And I go to open the balcony and I realize there is no door. There's a balcony, but this is just a window. Well, during the course of filming the video, I realized that there is indeed a way to get out on the balcony, but it is through the closet. So I completely lose my professionalism and I am just laughing. I'm like, is this in the closet? Are we in Narnia? Here we go. Because they used to have a full balcony, but because it is facing the 5 and that noise, they have kind of built a window inside, which now creates like this little sunroom. And the door is through the closet. It just absolutely made my day, and I couldn't stop like giggling about it and just loving how many kids have probably been in that room and thought that was the coolest thing to go to the secret hideout through the closet onto the little sunroom.
Yeah, it was great. It was so cute. I do want to say the Hojo also does not offer free breakfast. So you'll notice only one hotel had free breakfast included today. So if that's really important to you, then you're going to want to stay at that Best Western. So walking distance wise, I would say you're at like 15 minutes max. And why I say 15 for Hojo is because you do have a couple of crosswalks you have to deal with there. But 10 to 15 minutes from your hotel room to the parks is not bad at all. And they're pretty like easy to navigate to get there, right? It's just down Harbor and across the street. So These are all, they're all great choices. I don't think you can go wrong with any of the ones we've mentioned today. But Jessica, biggest thing for these guys to know is that the free nights, the low rates that they can get that they can't get anywhere else, they're going to find those with our partners at Getaway Today. And you can get all of that at getawaytoday.com/Castle Talk. Not only will you get the low rates and the free nights, but if you book tickets, you'll get our exclusive rate. And then Jessica, remind them of that freebie that you created for them.
Yes. So all the hotels that we've talked about, I have a printable for you. It goes over those hotels within their distance from Disneyland and on up north toward the 5 freeway and it lists like their moderate value or deluxe type of property, the maximum guests, if they offer breakfast, and a little bit of their perks. So you can print that out, take some notes on it. That's available at Castle Talk Radio. We have a lot of freebies there as well for you to check out. A lot of resources, just things to help you keep organized and keep things going forward for your Disneyland vacation. Now, again, this is just this part one, this little section of Harbor Boulevard. And I have to say, Howard Johnson is as far north on Harbor Boulevard as I would stay for this section. There's other areas that we'll get into later that you might walk a different way into Disneyland. But as far as coming in that pedestrian crosswalk from Harbor Boulevard, that's as north as I would say. I would not go over the 5 freeway on the bridge and walk from other hotels in that space. But if you're curious about hotels, we'll have more hotel episodes coming out in the spring and summer, but you can always message us. We have so many hotel resources between the two of us. We've stayed probably 40 upwards hotels in the area, and we love to share the information with you. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon at Disneyland.
It's a good